Main concern, my biggest concern is that we have an election to win. I'm not in the party. I'm not part of the party, so it's not nothing. Well, my concern is how these things roll out. But I will tell you, there are concerns on all sides of this and how this thing is going to work. President Trump now getting involved. The RNC over the weekend had put out a piece or a statement saying that they believe everything was properly done, but they weren't really going to take any further action until they could get in and do a review, and they have not done that. But since that statement came out, President Trump wrote this on Truth Social. I look forward to working with Ambassador Pete Hoekstra as chairman of the Republican Party of Michigan. He is a winner who was a great congressman for Michigan and likewise did a fantastic job as ambassador to the Netherlands. Pete will make the Republican Party of Michigan, quote, great again, that's in all caps, and has my complete and total endorsement to be its chairman, all caps. He will never let you down, exclamation point. Pete Hoekstra joins us now with commentary on this and where we go from here.
Always good to be with you, Justin. Thank you.
So what does this, does this settle it once and for all?
Well, you would think so. I mean, number one, the state committee voted to remove Christina. Number two, the state committee voted to elect me as chairman. The RNC, the Republican National Committee, has indicated that in their review, at least initial review, all the proper procedures have been followed through the first two steps. And then, I talked to the president on Friday night, and we had a great conversation, and we were just talking. And he said, hey, Pete, you want my endorsement? And I said, I would love your endorsement, Mr. President. And he says, okay, you'll have it. I'll have it out in 15 minutes. And, 15, I think about 10, 12 minutes later, it was out on Truth Social. And so, typically, Justin, when the president indicates a preference for a position like this, really his campaign partner in a key state or at the national level, the president gets his wish. We want a seamless integration between the president's team, the national committee, and also state committees, because guess what? We want to win. We want to win in November. We need to win for the president, but most importantly, we need to win for America.
Oh, I agree. I don't think we ever have seen a more critical election, at least in my lifetime, but I think maybe ever in the history of this nation. Where we're going and the trajectory we're on right now, Democrats and the Biden administration here in the state of Michigan, Whitmer. I mean, we're on the fast track to a place we don't want to be. And we've got to turn this train around. And there's no doubt about it. My question is, can we reunite people to do that? I know there's a good amount of folks that don't recognize you as a chair. And obviously the president's weighing in on this. You would hope is going to be a big factor in that. What do you say to those people? Because you have to make that case to them to bring them into the fold. You're going to need everybody, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it gets to be relatively simple. Okay, we focus on what Joe Biden and what Gretchen Whitmer are doing to the country and what they're doing to the state of Michigan. Take a look at what's happened over the weekend. 3 Americans killed, and now I think the number is up to 31 injured. Why? Because after 6, 7, 8 months, really after 10 years of Iran meddling in the Middle East, but really after 3 years of Joe Biden not confronting Iran, they've empowered Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, terrorist groups linked to Iran in Iraq. So the Middle East is ablaze. Why? Not because of America's strength, but because of America's weakness. You take a look at what Joe Biden is doing on the border. Now for 3 years, what is it? 7, 8 million illegals have maybe crossed the border during that period of time. Inflation, interest rates, and that's just at the national level. And you need to take a look at what's going on at the state level. giving $4 billion. And there's going to be big announcements on that this week, I think, to Chinese Communist Party linked companies. That's your money and my money going to the Chinese Communist Party. I'm not really interested in that. I really don't like it at all. The decision that local communities will no longer be able to have siting decisions for wind farms and for solar farms, and moving that decision making to Lansing. It's and the spending in Lansing. So you put all of these things together. When we focus on the issues and the agenda that Republicans and conservatives and independents will put forward this fall, we have a winning formula to not only win the presidency, but to win a Senate seat, to take back the state house, and perhaps pick up one or two congressional seats in Michigan. And that enables us to set the agenda, or at least have a voice in setting the agenda in Michigan and set the agenda in Washington. There is so much at stake. Unity can be driven by what we need to accomplish in November.
Former Ambassador Pete Hoekstra is with us right now, and the President Trump speaking out over on Truth Social over the weekend with a post that's made it pretty clear that he supports the ambassador. Let me ask you, because you have, since being elected, taken the reins and put out communications. Right now, it seems like we have these two dueling MI-GOP factions. But you did put out a piece that laid out the groundwork for a plan over the next 90 days or so and into the next year. I thought it was pretty critical. What are the highlights of that? Maybe you could communicate to people of what you see that needs to take place in order to secure wins this year.
Well, I think it kind of goes along about what we were just talking about. Number one, we need to set an agenda. We need to raise the funds, and we need to put in place a strong grassroots network to go out and to connect and reach voters. We're going to go, the day that we can start gathering ballots, Republicans are going to be out there gathering ballots. Bringing every Republican, conservative, and independent vote to the, we're going to start collecting them and turning them in. And, if you listen to Sean Fenn, the president of the UAW, I think on Friday or Saturday, said a very remarkable thing. He said, a lot of my members are not going to vote for Joe Biden, so we're going to be reaching out to Democrats as well, because he said they're going to vote bread and butter issues. And when a union worker is voting bread and butter issues, and when he's voting on guns as an issue, guess what? Those union voters are going to vote for Donald Trump and the Republican ticket. So we're going to have a very, very aggressive effort all across the state with neighbors talking to neighbors and about why they're voting Republican, why they're voting for Donald Trump, and why they need to vote for this conservative ticket as well. And that really was the issue why the group voted Christine out. They didn't see the organization coming together to win in November. So it was a performance issue. It's not a philosophical issue. It's not a personality issue. It is all about having in place the structure to win and be successful in November. That's what the chair of the party does. They're not the mouthpiece for the party. They are typically they're behind the scenes putting together the structure to make us successful. And that's exactly what my plan talks about, being able to empower our voters, and using it in a broad term, our voters to convince their neighbors to vote for us.
We talked previously about an opportunity to come together and have discussions with Christina Karamo. Would you still be willing to bring her into the fold moving forward? What would that look like? And can you guys maybe figure out a way to work together here?
I'd be more than willing to talk to Christina. We've had no discussions. If there were any discussions, there'd be a lot of issues that would need to be covered and would have to be worked through. But at this point in time, those discussions are not taking place. We've had different visions for the party. Unity is a big focus of mine. I think Christina has indicated that that's maybe not a priority for her. Fundraising is a big priority for me. I'm not sure it's been a priority of hers. I'm open to having some kind of initial discussion, but at this point in time, that has not taken place.
Ambassador Pete Hoekstra, before we let you go, we know that in Las Vegas, in fact, the primary / caucuses are coming up for them soon. But the RNC meeting in Nevada here today, I guess, they had previously spoken out, said that they weren't going to recognize either one of you, but they were going to invite you as guests. Or do you have any plans to attend that national winter meeting?
Yep, the meeting starts on Wednesday. I will be there on Wednesday. On Tuesday, I will be at Turning Point. They're also meeting in Vegas. But the big news, Justin, I think we're going to have news that will affect the Chinese battery plant in Big Rapids and the Chinese battery plant in Marshall this week. I think we're going to be thrilled that the work that, again, grassroots folks, and I've been blessed to work with the folks up in both of those cities. I think we're going to have good news as to the future of those plants and the difficulty that they're going to encounter to ever be built. We're going to win on this, Justin, and that's what politics is about. That when you see something you don't like, you join with grassroots and you put together the structure in place. And I think there's going to be good news. You're going to have a good week.
Oh, I'd love to hear that. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra, thank you so much for being here with us today. As he says, the new chair of the MIGOP, and of course, somebody who's been a staunch defender in that fight against those Chinese communist battery plants. Appreciate you taking the time to join us.
We'll stay in touch. We'll keep you informed.
There you go. But have no fear, folks. Christina Caramo sounds off next about the latest, particularly about what President Trump and the Post on social media, their Truth Social, says about everything. You'll hear all of it and more coming up next. This is just getting started, folks. Hang on.